Hi Valentine, I know many people have seen you around Ruach City Church in the various locations. You're a radio DJ, presenter, you're now an appointed elder, you are serving at Ruach City Church, but what I want to know today is, and what everybody else wants to know is, who was Valentine before he met God?
I was somebody that liked to do everything to the best and to the max. So if I went out partying, I partied really hard. When I drank hard. When I smoked, drugs, women, everything, I had to do it to the best of my ability. I'd throw my whole self into it. And my life was really all about me and what I could get out of people and out of life for myself.
Did you come from a Christian family?
Yeah, my parents were Christians, or I should say that they are Christians. However, that didn't really influence me. If anything at all, I think that actually probably turned me away from the whole idea.
So you kind of rebelled against it?
Yeah, I just didn't like the idea of church. I didn't like the idea of what it stood for. And I felt everybody that they're all hypocrites. I used to take great pleasure and great joy in reading the Bible, and just to make sure that when people did approach me, I would have really good, strong arguments. And I did, very, very strong arguments. People would go away looking confused after they spoke to me.
Wow.
And I'd be happy that I'd done that, yeah. God didn't feature at all in my life until I think I got to a point where I was just bored of doing the same stuff over and over again. And I thought, you know, I've got a job, you know, wasn't too bad off money-wise, you know, but there had to be more to life than just that, you know, going backwards and forwards day in and day out.
But, you know, you had a praying family and people were praying for you.
Yeah, they were. So the way I got introduced to Ruach City Church was through my sister. She had been a member for a good few years, and every once in a while she would keep saying, would you like to come to church? And I would keep refusing to come to church. And one day, you know, when I wasn't high and I wasn't drunk and I was actually at home, I said to her, you know what, I'm going to come to your church. And she looked at me and I looked back at her. But I wanted to tick God off my list. So I wanted to come and see that it wasn't what I wanted and tick it off and say, as I was on this search, this isn't the place I need to be.
Yeah, been there, done that, got
Yeah.
tried, it wasn't for me.
Yeah, tick, and we'll move on to something else, you know. And I remember turning up here and it was Sunday evening service, 6:30 service, and there was all the praise and worship going on, and I thought, what is all of this? You know, I came to church, I didn't really... and then I remember sitting down and Bishop preached and I thought, okay, yeah, what he said made sense. But I thought, you know what? He can't say the same thing twice, or he couldn't make sense twice in a row. So this must be a fluke. It's just a good day that I've come. So I came back the next week. Someone else preached. It was a good message. And I've been coming back ever since.
So Ruach City Church was the church that you actually got saved in? And you gave God your life?
The real moment of revelation, and it's quite a funny story, was I went round to the very same sister who had invited me to church's house after I'd been coming for a while, and I wanted to get some more material. You know, I still wasn't quite too sure, but I wanted to get a bit more material. And as I was looking through her DVD collection or her VHS videotape selection in those days, yeah, she had one on there, and the title of the message was "Ain't Nothing But Sex." And as soon as I saw that, I thought, ooh. And, you know, that really got my attention, piqued my interest. And when I listened to the message, it spoke about people treating God as more of a lover as opposed to having a proper relationship with him as well. And that's when I realized that that's what I needed to do. So the very same qualities that I had before of wanting to throw myself into everything, it then began to make sense that that's what I should do.
Now you're a presenter on Ruach Radio. How did you get involved?
I think it was a few years back, Bishop sent out a message saying he wanted people that wanted to be involved in radio to kind of like get together, form a committee and help get Ruach Radio going at the time. And I'd always had an interest in radio, but I hadn't really seen that interest mature. So for about a year or so, once the radio station started, I was learning how to do the editing and all the kind of like the post-production stuff and how the studio runs. And then once I felt comfortable and I felt I had enough knowledge, then I felt that I wanted to, you know, have my own show on the station.
Which is the Soul Food.
Which is the Soul Food Show, which is...
every Tuesday at...
Every Tuesday, every Tuesday, 7 to 9 p.m.
You know, not only are you a DJ at Ruach Radio and a presenter, you've also recently been appointed an elder.
Yeah, I got appointed an elder this year, which that was a really good thing for me. And why it was a good thing was because it's been a progression. From 1997, from when I got saved, until now, it has been a real journey. And the journey's not over, but it's an important benchmark in my development and my walk with Christ.
That's amazing. And where do you see yourself going now?
I don't know, there's so many different things that I do. Apart from the radio and the eldership, I also teach in the academy as well. I work on the sound desk as well as one of the sound engineers too. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing, and all of these things are things that I'm quite passionate about that I really think will bring a change as well.
So Valentine, thank you so much for your time today. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ruach City Church is filled with many different people from all different nationalities, and today we're just going to go and speak to one of them in our Kilburn location.
He never fails me yet, he never fails me yet. Jesus Christ never fails me yet. Oh, everywhere I go, I wonder.
How are you?
I'm good, sis. How you doing?
Good, you good? You're having fun?
Yeah, God is good, God is good.
I know God is good. I've been hearing some things about you.
Yeah?
Do you want to come with me and share your testimony?
No problem, no problem.
Come on, let's go. So, Conroy, I hear you've got a very powerful story. Tell me a little bit about your past back in Jamaica.
Well, in Jamaica, I was in gang violence, my brother was, a drugs guy, involved in a lot of stuff.
So your brother was into drugs, were you?
No, I wasn't into drugs, but I was into guns and stuff like that, yeah.
Did you look up to him as a role model?
Yeah, at the time, 'cause I was my bigger brother, and, you want to be like your brother, I lost my brother in front of me, and then gunman want to kill me at the same time, so I find myself at a place, with 3 gunmen corner me, want to shoot me,
Wow.
And I just pray a simple prayer to God. I say, God, if you deliver me from this, then I give my life to you. And from that time till now, I've been serving God. And I gave my life to God. My journey started there, and I've been through a lot at the same time, because when God saved me, I was still, have to deal with the bad stuff same way for a while. I have a grandmother, she always been encouraging me about God and say, if I really allow God to, work in my life, then stuff will change. And I was going through that process.
Yeah.
But I'm still going back and forth with the gang and stuff for a while, until then God just delivered me from everything totally.
So how did you end up in Ruach City Church in the UK?
Well, that's the next story, I was watching Ruach Ministry. At the time it was Ruach Ministry. I was watching it on my TV in Jamaica, and I said, God, if I get a chance to go to this country, I would want Ruach Ministry to be my church.
Wow. And
then 1 year after I meet my wife and we was talking, and she said she's from England. And I said, God, then you're setting me up for this great mission,
He's good at that.
Yeah. So God is good, and I love it. I love what I do for the ministry. I love what I do for God, It's just my passion, to be a part of this great ministry, serving for the kingdom.
Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I hope you've managed to download the Ruach City Church app. If you have, you will notice that we have a Ruach Radio available for you to listen to. We're going to be going behind the scenes right now to meet the station manager of Ruach Radio. Come, follow me.
Ruach Radio is your station for Christian-centered conversation and music 24/7. Ruach Radio. Get involved. Ruach Radio.
Tell me, Ivor, a little bit about yourself. When did you first become interested in media?
Well, I've been in media for just over 30 years, and when I started out originally, I worked in a community centre as a studio engineer. And then I went on to go on and work within the BBC, work at Choice FM, and then also go on to consult in radio, not only in the UK but abroad.
So what was your lifestyle like during this time?
My lifestyle was very champagne, very lavish, going out, meeting people, women, the whole works. It was partying all the time. And if it was a good day and you had a good time, you're partying. And if you didn't have such a good day, you even partied harder. So that's what my lifestyle was like.
Did you know God?
No. I mean, what happened was that when I was at Choice FM, towards the end, my mum passed away. And my mum was quite a spiritual woman. And I felt that when she was ill, that if God loved her as for her spirituality and for what she did, he would save her. And he didn't. And it kind of rocked me to the core. I didn't want to have anything to do with God. And then I started to seek out other religions to see if I could then connect with a higher being, so to speak. I went through various routes, you know, things where you were wearing bangles on your wrists to, you know, different fads and religions and, you know, horoscopes, the whole works, just to find something, you know, the universe, just to kind of connect with something that then made me feel, great, okay, this is now working for me. But what I found was that it was like drinking a can of Coke. I would drink it and enjoy the sugar rush, so to speak. But when it was finished, it was empty. There was nothing there.
So there was no substance?
No, there was no substance there at all.
At this time, you had a friend who was going to Ruach City Church and she invited you along.
I was like, well, what, another church? I wasn't sure. And then I kind of came towards one of the 6:30 services, came towards the end.
Yes.
And it's something I just never witnessed before. People were singing, people were talking in tongues. I didn't know it was tongues at the time, you know, and I just was kind of like blown away. And a part of me was kind of like, I don't know if I want to come here. But then I noticed somebody in the actual congregation, and this was a man on the road. And I thought, if he can come to it, then maybe God is saying something to him, and maybe God is saying something to me. So that kind of encouraged me to then come back the following week. At the time, I was looking at making a really major decision, whether I wanted a life-changing decision, whether I should stay in this country or go and work in Africa for a longer period of time, 2 or 3 years. And nobody knew about it. And my friend invited me to the Kilburn service because she was telling me about Co-Pastor Penny. That was the day she spoke something into my life, because on that day, towards the end of the service, she came out to the congregation and then started to speak to people. She was pointing various people out. She spoke to one woman and said one thing. She spoke to another guy and said something else. And then she pointed at me, and I didn't think she was pointing at me. And when she pointed at me, I actually turned my back to see if she was pointing at me. And she said to me, you know, you are got to make a very important decision at this moment in time. And the decision, don't go. And that kind of really stuck with me and resonated with me. And I thought, how does she know that? Only a couple of people knew I was going away.
And she never knew, you've never met Pastor Penny, you've never spoke to anybody else in the church, no one knew that you was on the verge of buying a ticket to go to Africa.
That's right.
So you knew and God knew.
That's right.
And he got your attention that day.
And I mean, that day, I actually went out and bought a Bible. And, you know, I've got, you know, to this very day, that was God telling me, giving me a very clear instruction. And that's when I started to then come back to God. And to me, that was the day I was saved. I went the following week to Kilburn to see if Co-Pastor Penny was there again, because I wanted to talk to her. But actually, Bishop was there. And he did an altar call to people to come up and, you know, say hello to him. And I went up and he recognized me straight away. He goes, I know you. Yeah, I know you. You're from Choice. And then I said, yeah. And then he said, take his number, get his number. And then from there, we connected up and, you know, the rest is history.
The rest is history.
It's very easy to connect with Ruach Radio. All you have to do is download the Ruach City Church app and you go to the media section, look at Ruach Radio and you're connected, as well as going online to the Ruach City Church website. But you can connect with the station so easily now, and you can have the station wherever you go. It's on your phone, and also when you've opened it, you can also use other things as well. So it's very easy to connect to the station.
That's brilliant. So we're reaching the world.
We're reaching the world. We have listeners all over the world.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for your time today, Ivor. I really appreciate it. It's been a blessing. You take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony.